Have you ever wondered why some businesses seem to effortlessly convert leads into long-term or loyal customers and other businesses just seem to struggle? Well, if that's the case, you're in the right place, because in this short training, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help you to transform an unpredictable deal conversions into a streamlined, successful system. We're going to help you to codify your conversion process so not only you can do it more consistently, but you also can give it to someone else. Because it's not only essential to get the leads coming in, but also make sure you have the right fit come into you and work with you sustainably and long term. All right, let's jump into the trading. So let's talk about this strategy around the deal flow effect. Now, what happens if you can't convert the leads effectively? I want to give you an example. This is Ben and Yang Nash. They run a financial advisory company called Pivot Wealth, one of the best in the country, arguably the best. And before they started working with us, they were super frustrated. They put a huge amount of money and also time into lots of courses and flavor of the month marketing machines. They had lots of leads coming in. The problem was they had heaps of tire kickers. Oh yeah, it sounds good, but let me just talk to da-da-da, or can you see me next month? And it was super frustrating for them. They got massively overworked because they had plenty of leads, but then they were just going through this whole churn machine around the conversion piece. And are they a right fit or not the right fit? And the problem was they got to the place where we went, like, no one can do it like me. This is what Ben was saying. No one can do it like me. And I've got no time to hire someone. I'm so busy because I've got the leads coming in. I'm trying to do the conversions and doing a little bit of the delivery as well. And it was getting a little frustrating. So the challenge, and we see this happen a lot, is if you don't have a structured pipeline, what happens is you end up with, you might have lots of leads, but you end up spending a lot of time and a lot of really, let's say, resources within the company with tire kickers, people that are never going to buy from you. That's number one. Number two is if you can never codify the conversion process, if you've never done that, you'll never be able to scale a business. You'll never get leverage. It's the one part of a business you can do everything else well. If you have not codified your business, you will never, ever be able to scale the business. What ends up happening is what we see is a lot of founders then are the people that do the bulk of the sales. And that's fine to a degree, but then they'll never get any true leverage. And the truth is, the more valuable you are to the business, the less valuable is the business. Ouch. So this is a really important part that we want to nail for you. And what happens is if people are not hitting the mark, they're not getting the leads or they're not getting the converting of the right fit clients coming in. Sometimes they go, oh man, I need to put someone in. They put someone in and go, oh man, this person's like brain damaged trying to work with this client. You go, we put the wrong person in because we felt like we needed the money. What happens is though, and then you go, someone who's been really great, and you go, oh man, I'd love to work with that person. They don't sign up with you, they don't work with you. People start to doubt their core offering, they start to doubt their product, and we don't want that for you. What happens though? What happens when you can truly convert effectively, and you can do it in a streamlined fashion? Well, I'll give you an example of Ben and Yang. What they're able to do in a relatively short period of time is they use the same process to leverage our delivery. They also simplify their product offering. That's what's going to happen when you codify your conversion process. Most people got too many things. I read a statistic that you can see, the Apple company is one of the largest, if not the largest company in the world, and you can put all their products on one table because most people in their businesses just make it way too complex. What we need to do is codify your sales process. What they're able to do is they have the confidence then by doing this to take their team from 3 to just over 22. And more importantly, what was the bottom line? They grew their revenue by 713% within 4 years. So just imagine they're making 100K, they're making more than that, but 100K, that means in 4 years or less, they were making 813. It's 100 plus the 7.13% increase, if you know your maths on that. So what do you think about it for you? If you go back in the last 12 months and you go, what was my revenue for the business? Multiply that by 7.13 and go, and add that 7.13 onto your total revenue. That gives you an idea of what can be done by putting this part into place. So what happens when you can do it effectively, just like Ben and Yang did? You're attracting the right people and the people you love to work with. Now, that is one of your secret sources. Just imagine there are some people that you'll work with, your product or service will work with, that even if your product was average, because they're the right fit, they got amazing results. Yeah, get what I'm saying? That it's a super important part. Next thing is having structured sales conversations means that the person who's doing the conversion process has the confidence that they can deliver on that. And then, sales is an emotional game, so people go up and down, but if they have a system, a structure they're following, they can be more consistent. And if they're off track, it's much easier for you to build it and bring them back on track. Another thing what happens is you can overcome imposter syndrome. And what do we mean by that? Is that we know that if people are not making the conversions and not getting the sales that they want, what ends up happening, they're doubting themselves and they're going to go, oh, maybe it's my product. But actually, no, you just had a sucky conversion process. And that's what we want to change. That's what we're going to go through. So I want to take you through the key parts. How do you want to get over this? And what we talk about getting past imposter syndrome, which is really the mindset play. This is exactly what we do with Ben and Yang. There are three components to it. There's the critical thinking, there's the rational logic, and the emotional connection. And when you get all three of those together, that's the way that people can then trust you. So this process, we have trainings behind each of these. What I wanted to do now, though, is I wanted to focus on the first one, which is the critical thinking part, because it's the easiest thing to do. And it's high value. If you're a founder or a leader within a small to medium-sized business, you can add massive, massive value very, very quickly. So let's go through this. If we look at a structured sales process, what are the key components? There are four key components. The first one is you need to have the ability for people to find you. Now, there's a lead generation part of that, but there's another part of that. There is once you've got the leads in there, what are you doing? You've got your internal, external marketing. What are you doing that they can somehow book an appointment with you? What I mean by that is there's got to be a place that you have the beginning of a sales conversation of some sort. So we need to have that structure. It needs to be very well laid out. Second component is the ability to talk to you. Now, talk to you could be online if you're an e-com business. There's a different way people could talk with you. It could be through chat. Could be a phone call, could be in a showroom, it could be over a Zoom. The way they talk to you depends on the nature of your business. This part here is the initial discussion, the initial working out if it's a fit or not for you. You can call it discovery call. There's lots of different names for this initial call. But what we suggest when people do this is this should be something that is high value for the person you're working with, whether they're going to work with you long term or not. So discovery call. Now, the purpose of the discovery call is like a fork in a road. At this point here, you're working out, yes, I think we can do something for you, or you actually go, no, I don't think we can. Even if you've got the money to pay for it, my suggestion is don't take it. Like, give them something that they can work on so they can be a right fit. That's what we call a nurture sequence. So if they're not a right fit, they go into a nurture sequence. If they are, then they go into the next step. Now, the next step is the purchasing discussion, the purchasing engagement that you have with them. Lots of different terms, depending on the type of business, lots of different ways you can explain this, but I'm going to use the word a strategy session for the purpose of this example. What do you want to do in this call? This is where you want to put like your medical hat on. My background, I've got 5 tertiary qualifications, 3 are clinical. So I used to be a dentist, and I'm putting my clinician hat on here. The part in this part here, when you're doing the purchasing process, you're putting your medical hat on. And what you're really doing here is you're going from a place of diagnosis. And what you're really wanting to do here is find out what is their problem, diagnosing what the problem is, then creating a treatment plan, and then showing them what that treatment plan is about. So that's the same thing when we're looking at when someone's buying from you. We want to offer value, which is diagnose, here's what I think you can do. Answer any of their questions, that's objection handling. By the way, objection handling is a buying sign that helps them to go, hey, if I can get over this, then I'd be happy to work with you. And then once you've done that part of it, the next part of it is a little bit of logistics. Now, I'm surprised at the number of people who don't have this organized before they have a sales goal. Have your payment details sorted, have your terms, have your conditions, T&Cs. They need to be really clear, they need to be set out. Never go into a conversion conversation of any sort, particularly in this phase here, without having your what we call your salesperson's toolbox, or your salesperson's briefcase. That's what we do in the purchase process. Then the fourth part, which I think most people forget about, they think once the purchase is done, it's all over. No, that's where the journey just begins. That's when they need to be engaging with your product. What is the onboarding? What is the onboarding sequence that needs to be put into place? And what is the welcome? I'll say welcome email, but it could be other ways you do welcome. This is a really key part. Now, most people, when I go through this with them, they'll often go, hey, the area I need to work on right now is to find you. Then there might be talk to you and purchase. They normally go from left to right as far as how they're thinking about it. The truth is, when you're building it, you go from right to left. You build it with the end in mind. That means all the sequences are flowing very nicely. That could be huge value for you straight away. Now, with that in mind, here's the special treat I've got for you. This here is a great tool that we use. It's called the Sales Steps. It's very simple, but it's so powerful in what it will do. Now, I know a lot of people have their own CRM system, their own way that they'll track leads. But what I found is when I go in and have a look at where they're at, they end up looking at it and they go, I've got a bit here and a bit there, and they don't have any consolidated place that they can track effectively all the leads that are coming in, and more importantly, just see where the bits that are falling off. So I'm going to do a quick overview. I'm not going to do the massive deep dive on this, but obviously here's the lead or the business name. This is a B2B, who the owner, they're basically their details here, where they came from you on the source. And we have a really simple template. Let's say there's a referral, and all we do is do this next step here. We go, yes, they did this step. This here is the sales steps. This is just a generic one, although this is really current and appropriate for a lot of people. And all we do is just go through really quickly, yes, yes, and what you'll notice down the bottom is these conversion numbers are going to change. And I'll just go on here, and you can see what this will do is over time you'll be able to see where there are things that are working. Let's just say the value of this product they buy is $20,000, as an example here. What that does is giving you a conversion rate. It then gives you, if this is your existing clients, we had 4, what we had beforehand, and now we've got total sales, new customer, which we just we did then, and then what it'll do, it'll give you your accumulated total down the bottom. So that is our sales step. So if this resonates with you and you want to put this strategy into your place, then what we'll do is we're going to offer a one-on-one free consultation where we're going to help you to implement it. We've got a saying here, and that is, when the tide comes in, all boats rise. And what we'll do in that consultation, it's called a growth driver call, is we're going to do 3 things. Number 1, get really clear on what your goals are, where you're going, what's your vision for the business. Second thing is looking at what are your bottlenecks, what are the things that we need to overcome. And the third thing is, what are the very specific next 3 action items that you need to put into place in your business right now. You're going to get huge value out of that. Not only that, but you might kind of go, hey, this is really great. I'd love to continue the conversation, and that's fantastic if you do. You're going to either win in this call, or if you want to work with us beyond that, we can talk about that after that call, but you can win even faster. It's just one simple step, and that is to click on the link and book your call now. Here's what we're going to do at our end. We're going to make sure we're well prepared. We're going to do our homework. We're going to do our research before we speak with you so that we can hit the ground running, because our job is to make sure that this year is the best year that you ever had. Can't wait to speak to you soon. Bye for now.